Let's imagine you're sitting in a cozy cafe with a friend. You're sipping coffee and talking about life, work, and money. And then your friend leans forward and says, "Hey, have you ever heard of this book called From Zero to Millionaire by Nicolas Berube? I think it might change how you think about money forever." You're curious. Because, let's be honest, Zero to Millionaire sounds like the kind of title that's either a scam or a secret treasure map. But here's the thing. It's neither. Nicolas Berube isn't some flashy influencer or get-rich-quick guru. He's a financial journalist who started out knowing almost nothing about investing. And what makes this book so powerful is exactly that. He writes as someone who started with zero knowledge. He learned everything from scratch. The questions you have about money, he had them too. The fears, the confusion, the overwhelm. He felt all of that, and he made mistakes. But through years of research, conversations with successful investors, and his own trial and error, he figured out a simple and repeatable system for building wealth. One that doesn't require luck or timing or a finance degree. Just patience, habit, and perspective. The first thing he wants you to understand is this. You don't have to be rich to start investing. That idea that you need money to make money is one of the most dangerous lies that keeps people stuck. In fact, the earlier you start, even with tiny amounts, the more powerful your results. Because the real magic isn't in the money, it's in time. Time is what transforms a $100 investment into thousands. Time is what compounds your gains year after year. The problem is, most people don't realize this until they're older. And by then, they've missed the easiest part of the journey. Let me take you into the mindset that Berube wants you to adopt. Imagine you're planting a tree. You water it every week. Nothing seems to happen for months, maybe even a year. People laugh at you. They say, "Why are you wasting time? That little seed isn't going anywhere." But you keep watering it, and then one day it sprouts. Not much, just a few inches, but the growth continues, slowly at first, then faster, and before you know it, you've got shade, you've got fruit, you've got something strong and unshakable. That's investing. That's what most people miss. They give up before the first sprout. Berube's entire book is about getting you to stay long enough to see that growth, because it's coming, even if you can't see it right away. And how do you do that? That's where simplicity comes in. Berube is almost allergic to complicated financial strategies. He makes fun of the idea that you need to beat the market or pick the next Amazon. He tried that, and it didn't work. What he discovered instead is that boring is beautiful when it comes to money. The most effective strategy is also the one that takes the least time, effort, and stress. And it's this. Buy a low-cost index fund. Put money into it every month. Don't touch it. Don't obsess over it. Don't try to outsmart it. Just let it grow. But if it's that easy, why don't more people do it? This is where the book becomes part psychology, part philosophy. Berube says the biggest barrier to wealth isn't knowledge, it's behavior, emotions, impulses, fear, greed. He shares this incredible story about Isaac Newton. Yes, that Isaac Newton, one of the greatest scientific minds in history. Even he got caught in a speculative bubble and lost a fortune in the stock market. Why? Because he couldn't control his emotions. He followed the crowd, bought high, panicked, and sold low. If Newton couldn't do it, how can we? The answer is automation. One of the most brilliant parts of this book is how Berube emphasizes automation not just as a convenience, but as a defense system. You remove yourself from the equation. You set up automatic monthly contributions to your investment account. That way, whether the market is soaring or crashing, your behavior doesn't change. You keep investing. You keep watering your tree. And over time, you end up wealthier than 90% of people who are chasing quick wins. Another theme that comes up again and again is noise. The media thrives on drama. Every day there's a new headline: markets crash, recession ahead, tech bubble bursting. It's designed to make you react. Berube talks about how people consume financial news like fast food. It gives you a quick rush, but it's bad for your health. He urges readers to disconnect from that cycle. Trust history. Trust the data. The market always recovers. Every crash, every panic, every war, every crisis, it all passes. And the long-term trend is up. Always up. He shares a fascinating insight. If you had invested during the worst possible moments in history, even right before the 2008 crash or the Great Depression, you still would have ended up far ahead if you just held on. The pain is temporary. The growth is permanent. But here's where the book really stands out. It's not just a guide to wealth, it's a guide to freedom. Berube explains that financial independence isn't about yachts or private jets. It's about having options. Maybe you want to quit a toxic job. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to start a business, or help your parents, or take a year off. That's what wealth gives you. Not luxury, but liberty. He also tackles the guilt and shame people feel around money. A lot of people think, I'm too late, or I'm too broke, or I'm bad with numbers. But Berube gently dismantles all of that. He shows that it's never too late, that you don't need to be a math genius, that you can learn as you go, that even starting in your 30s or 40s or 50s can make a huge difference. By the end of the book, you're left with this feeling, not of being overwhelmed, but of being empowered. You realize that wealth isn't a mystery. It's not a lottery. It's a system, a path, one that's walked by small steps, repeated over time. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't see results in a day, but skip it for a year and the damage is obvious. The same goes for investing. It's daily discipline quietly compounding in the background of your life. In conclusion, From Zero to Millionaire isn't just a book about money. It's about mindset, patience, and self-trust. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't panic during downturns, who doesn't chase every hot tip, who doesn't need constant wins to feel okay. It's about peace, simplicity, long-term thinking, and maybe, just maybe, it's about becoming a millionaire, not through speed but through stillness, not through gambling but through faith. Faith in the market, yes, but more importantly, faith in yourself.